was your day?
Good.
Monday?
Monday, busy. We're down one person because we've got somebody on vacation.
Yeah.
So
Always a fun time of year for that.
yeah, and it's first of the month, so it's always busy being the first of the month.
Everybody's coming in, getting their stuff. All right.
Yes, yeah.
Well, so Tami, we're running for county commissioner,
Yes, District 2.
District 2.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, let's, I think, start with some information about your background.
Okay.
So where did you grow up? And
Tell you all the things.
yeah, let's just do it that way. I
Tell
mean,
me
I already know a lot of your things,
Yeah,
but
you
let's
already
tell
know a lot.
everybody else. Yeah.
So I was born and raised here in the Silver Valley, born in the Kellogg Hospital. It was way different when I was born back then. My great-grandfather actually homesteaded the property up by the 5 Mile marker, up the
Okay.
river where my mother currently lives.
Yeah.
About 6 years ago, she actually quitclaim deed me some property across the street on the river, so I
Yeah.
know it's like that river property. It's really expensive, but um, so yeah, I was born and raised. My husband and I left actually when I got out of school.
Yeah.
Um,
Out of high school?
At high school,
Yeah.
yep. So I'll go back one sec. I was had my daughter a year or a month before I graduated from high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I had a lot of people tell me that I would be on welfare for the rest of my life and never make anything of myself. And I used that all these years as kind of a, something to motivate me
Yeah,
to
fuel.
to be better.
Yeah.
And so I lived in Spokane for 2 years as a single parent and worked as a dental assistant over there.
Okay.
My husband Tom, came back from Desert Storm.
Okay.
He actually was my boyfriend in the 3rd grade. So this is how far we go back.
Wow, okay.
He was the best man at my first wedding.
You just moved him over one place?
Yeah, just moved him over one place. But we've been friends forever. And so a couple years after I got divorced from my first husband, Tom and I got married. He just got back from Desert Storm.
Yeah.
And so we moved back to North Carolina and spent 2 years back there in the Marine Corps, which to me was really good because we had to make it on our own.
Yeah.
Without my parents here.
Yeah.
Because
No family, right?
That's
no
right.
family in North Carolina.
That's right. And I'm kind of spoiled. Well, I'm not kind of spoiled. I am spoiled. And so we lived there and we came back here in about 1993. And he went into HVAC, which he does today.
Yeah.
I went into the dental field. I worked for Dr. Norman, a dentist in Kellogg. Worked there for 9 years. And then in 2003, I started U.S. Bank.
In 2003?
2003 in the Uptown Kellogg branch. And then I came up here to Wallace, right next door, and managed this branch.
Oh, at the First National.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And managed this branch. And then I went over to Coeur d'Alene and managed the downtown Coeur d'Alene branch.
Oh, wow.
And then about 2016, they asked me to come back and manage the Kellogg and Pioneers branch because they were getting ready to close the Kellogg branch. I didn't know that at the time, but so I managed that for a year or so until they closed that. And then I've been at Pinehurst ever since.
Almost 10 years now there.
I know, right?
Goes by quick. When you said the 1993, I was like, oh, it doesn't seem like that long ago. But...
Well, the 60s is just 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think about that 70s is what I think that way. Yeah.
It was just a little while ago. So, I've been working for the bank, and I volunteer for a couple of nonprofits. I volunteer for the Lions Club in Pinehurst, Kingston.
Yeah.
And then the Fuller Center, which a lot of people don't know what that is, but it's like Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah, it's a Fuller Center for housing.
For
right?
housing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we help people, get to be affordable housing. So I volunteer for that.
Very good.
And I just decided this last year that there was some things that I thought needed to be changed.
Yeah.
In the county, and I thought I need to be the change I expect.
That is a good call.
So
and that'll be one of the next questions there.
Yeah, I'm just.
No, you're good. You're good. So I mean, we kind of covered. You got the family. You were here. You grew up here, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You spent what, maybe 4 or 5 years away from the Silver Valley.
Mhm.
Did some work in Coeur d'Alene, of course, also. But so as it's coming up to this election with the commissioners, of course, a lot of people want to look in the rearview mirror and talk about what should have been or what da da da. But
Mhm.
let's look forward.
Mhm.
What do you anticipate changing at the county level, or what are your plans if you're elected? I mean, what's let me just actually let's hone that down a little bit. What's the first thing you're going to do when you get in there?
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the budget.
Mm,
There was some things a lot of people are like, we pay too many taxes. We don't have enough money. We got to lower taxes. We got to
yeah.
do this. But nobody's ever really focused on generating more income.
Wow. We agree with you 100%.
And so one of my examples is about, well, at least the last two sets of commissioners that we've had so probably 8 to 10 years ago,
Yeah.
I came up with an idea of, um, when you go to jury duty,
Hmm.
you get that little $37 check.
Hmm.
Why can't we set up something that says when we get that jury notice, I don't need that $37 check. I want it to go to the sheriff's office, or I want it to go to the
Oh yeah,
prosecutor's
donate
office.
it. Yeah. Hmm.
Donate it to those,
Yeah.
and that's a win-win for the county because number
Absolutely.
one, it doesn't leave the county,
Yeah.
and number two, it goes to a specific
Yeah.
um, department
Yeah.
in the
You
county.
can earmark it for where you want it to go, maybe, right?
Exactly,
Like you said,
and it's just
sheriff's
like my
department.
little donation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Because
so
I don't want the $37 check. I don't care
yeah,
about that.
it's like a pain,
Yeah.
and it costs them 75 cents or whatever to mail it, and it's just like,
More management than it's worth. Yeah. Well,
exactly.
that's a good idea. I haven't heard that one yet.
So I mentioned that several commissioners,
Yeah.
and nobody's taken advantage of it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so this was like at least 8 years ago. That's a lot of money we could have been generating, even
Yeah.
if it's just a little bit a year. That's a lot of money we
Yeah.
could generate,
Absolutely.
on a daily or on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
And so I was telling that at one of my meet and greets, and one of the ladies at the courthouse now, she goes, "Oh my gosh, that's so funny." She says, "We just started doing that because they do it in a different county." And I'm like, "Why weren't we doing this 8 years ago?"
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
like that. The other thing I want to do is people in this valley are very generous.
Hmm.
They want to know how they can help.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But they just don't know what to do. They don't know that if the money's going to go where it's supposed to go.
Yep.
So my idea is each department will have a QR code.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so let's say they want to get new vests for the sheriff department, new bulletproof vests. They put on there, we need some new bulletproof vests. Does anybody want to donate? Here's the
Yeah.
QR code for people to donate.
Absolutely.
And people can donate.
Yeah.
Um,
And it'll go directly for
it'll go
that
directly
thing.
for
Yeah.
that thing. Yeah,
That's
because
nice.
it'll
That's a
be
good idea.
directly for
Yeah.
the vests or whatever they're advertising for. The other thing is one of the complaints that people had with our previous sheriff. I know you don't want to go back, but
That's okay.
this is one of those things that
We can look back a little bit. Yeah.
kind of prompted me into thinking
Hmm.
about some things. Is that she bought some pizza for her deputies one day, and people were having a fit about it because they didn't think that the sheriff should be buying pizza. And it was probably 37, $47. It was
We could have covered that with one jury duty check.
I know, right? So so I've looked into that a little bit further, and the reason that she bought them pizza is because they executed 4 drug warrants
Mm.
of drug houses in
Hmm.
one day.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of work. A lot of
Uh,
dangerous work too.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'd have bought a pizza every day of the week,
Yeah. Yeah. I
not
was gonna
just
say,
once.
no doubt.
So there needs to be something that people can say, "Gosh, this deputy did a really good job," or "the sheriff's department did a really good job. Here's
Yeah.
my on that QR code. I want to buy the deputy's
Yeah.
pizza for the day."
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
put it out there, "Hey, this is what they've done if anybody wants to buy pizza," or Law Enforcement Week or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people can actually give back to the things that
Yeah.
they think is
Yeah.
important.
To the causes they want to support, so to speak, right? Rather than
Exactly.
the taxes just going into the black hole and you never
I
quite
never see
know
them.
where they
Yeah.
go. Yeah. I
And
imagine you're uniquely qualified to mm, analyze the budget maybe and the
Yeah,
expenditures.
I
Yeah.
might know a thing or two
Yeah.
about that,
Yeah.
and
You
I'm
know how
learning.
that works.
Damian Groves is also running for commissioner
Yeah.
at Kellogg. He knows a ton. He's taught me a ton about the budget,
Good.
so I'm picking his brain.
And he's currently KPD officer,
He
right?
is,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Another thing I want him to be able to do is, how many times do you have a pothole and you're like, I want this pothole fixed? And we could
Hmm.
adopt a pothole
Sure.
and
Yeah, I think
say,
they do that other places,
yeah,
don't they? Yeah.
I want to fix this pothole, so I'm gonna send
Yeah.
money to the roads department
Yeah.
and I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah.
So those are a few things that I want to do with the county. Um, to generate money. There's some things that I want to do up the river. We need to rein in that getting revenue generated from the river.
We agree with you.
And so, well, if you guys living up there too, yeah, and I,
Hmm.
own property up there,
Yep.
so we got to be able to get money. And so I've got some things in the works of some ways that hopefully we can generate money
Yeah.
by doing some things up there, doing some things up in the river. So that's one of the things that I want to do. Another thing I want to work on when I get in there is the blight. I've been getting a lot of people on my Facebook page saying, take care of the blight.
Well, currently, I think the blight complaint forms are a little bit, I don't know if I would say intimidating for the complainant because you have to put all of your information on there. And I know obviously we want to give our information, but that goes to whoever you're making the complaint against.
Right.
And so if your neighbor is over there, you don't really want to put your name on it. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. So we need to maybe redo that form so that, and I don't know the logistics of that. We'd have to talk to the prosecutor and find out. I think I might be the prosecutor's worst nightmare when I get in there because I got lots of things that I want to do. But people are concerned about blight.
Yeah, it is. It's a concern. Yeah.
The other concern that I have is I've had people ask me what my week is going to look like.
Yeah.
As a commissioner.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew you were going to ask me that question. I just thought
you can roll. I'll let you roll. It's easy that way.
I'm just telling you about things that people are asking me.
No,
in
that's
the community. Great. So they have most of their meetings Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
So obviously I would be in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the meetings and in between meetings and probably take a lunch or, whatever. The position itself is a 32-hour-a-week position.
Okay. Yeah.
The rule is that as long as you're in the office one day a month, I believe, then that's considered fulfilling your obligation.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not enough time.
Yeah, it probably doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, you need to, even though it's a part-time position, we pay you 32 hours a week, you need to be in the office a little bit more. So my work schedule would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I would be in the office for meetings and people coming to visit and appointments and things. And on Monday, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be out in the public.
Yeah.
I want to go to the works department, see how they operate. I want to go up to Murray and see how that works.
Right.
The road department. I want to go to the road department. I want to go to up to Pritchard and to Murray
and zoning,
and to
all those places.
check out the Joe. And
Oh,
I also want to check out. I want to go up to Lucky Friday.
Absolutely.
See how they're doing. I want to go to Bunker, see how they're doing.
Yeah.
And visit with people and in the community. Because right now, working at the bank, I'm in the community and I have people that are asking me, do this, do this, do this. And that's great.
Yeah.
But I never want to be in a position where someone comes and says, 8 years ago, I asked you to do this and you never did it.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at the money we could have generated.
Yeah.
So I want to listen to what people are saying.
Yeah.
And I want to at least look at it.
As an elected official, that's kind of a job, isn't it?
Because
otherwise, how do you know what's going on in the community if you're not out there talking to people? Yeah.
And I don't want to why would you pay me to sit there for 8 hours?
Just sitting in the office.
Just sitting in the office waiting for somebody to come in.
Yeah, unless you're doing some kind of work that's required there, which, I mean, I know we go to the county quite a bit because we're doing real estate stuff, obviously. But I don't think a lot of people in the community are regularly up there for maybe other than like the DMV and stuff, right?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, interfacing with the public is going to get you the main line to the issues, I would think. Right?
Absolutely, that's what I'm thinking. And then if you have to be working on something, I can always use Monday to work on stuff if something needs to be worked on. But I want to be out. I also want to cross train. There's a lot of things that happen. Like at the driver's license place, they only have one person.
Yeah.
And so she can't have work-life balance because she has to be there.
Yeah.
And then you get the frustration of somebody that comes all the way in. They get their kid out of school. They come in. They're going to take their driver's test. They come in at 3:00 and they have to wait in a line. And then at 3:30 they're done. So then they
we have recently done that ourselves. So
yeah
yes, and I know that's a pain point right now for a lot of people. As Sean talked about that the other day too,
yeah
about trying to get it. Really, probably shouldn't be in the jail, right?
right
So he's talking about trying to do some stuff with that.
hmm
So you definitely have some allies there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm huge supporters of the police department, the
Yes.
school district, just the county employees.
Yeah.
And another thing is we need to get and retain good employees at the county.
Right.
And so I want to implement a system where if they have an employee of the month program,
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
I haven't either.
And I would really,
Yeah.
people like to be recognized.
They love a pat on the back. That's for
exactly.
Sure.
And I
Yes.
think sometimes working for the county, you just don't get that. So I would like to
Yeah.
implement something like that.
Yep. And yeah, you're right. They do. I feel like they get a lot of complaints leveled in their directions, but not a lot of gratitude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it isn't an easy job.
And so this is something that you would probably appreciate. So right now, working at lending for US Bank, if I want to get tax assessed in Kootenai County, I can just go to their website and pull it off. But up here, I have to call. Somebody has to pull it off. Somebody has to email it to me.
Yeah.
And that takes time.
Absolutely.
I want to get us online up here.
Yeah.
For the DMV so people can make an appointment. And
Yeah.
I want us to get us online for being able to look at tax assessed and values.
Absolutely.
So we need to be brought in to 2026 or 2027, whichever year you want to go on at the time. But there's a lot of things that we just need to upgrade.
Yeah. Some of that stuff probably isn't very expensive type stuff. Just the work needs to be done. Probably.
Right. And I was talking to the DMV up there a couple weeks ago when I went to get my concealed weapons permit, and they said they are working on it. But we still need to cross train.
Yeah. So you have employees that can do DMV or this or that or what. Right. Yeah. I appreciate that idea. That's a good idea. So we covered a lot of seems like some of the main things that you're going to start with. What right now, I mean, you went through that list. What's the most important thing for you to deal with right away? Is the budget?
Yeah, the budget is number one, and the blight.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to have the blight.
Yeah.
And then I would like to look into, I know that Kellogg is the first city to outlaw what's that, cadmium?
Oh, yeah, the kratom bans. I think
yeah.
They're doing that in a lot of the state, I think, right now.
Yeah, I would like to look at doing that in Shoshone County.
Yeah.
In Kootenai County, they can do it, but in Shoshone County, I'd like to look at doing that.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of issues, and as much addiction as we have in the area, but having something you can buy legally is just not.
Yeah, and it's some of that stuff they do at the gas stations. It's I think I've heard some of it referred to as like gas station heroin almost.
Exactly.
And they are selling other things that are like a concentrated version of that, which I think are even like one step beyond.
Right.
That, right.
Right.
So yeah, I know Kellogg just did that. So yeah.
I'd like to follow suit with maybe the county. I don't know if we can do that or not, but I would like to ask the prosecutor if we could do that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a lot of ideas. I just don't know, how legal
anything to keep that stuff away from kids too.
Exactly.
Because I know that there's supposed to be age restrictions on things, but we know how that works.
Exactly. Yeah.
So currently at US Bank, and are you planning on staying with US Bank during your commissioner
no
period, I guess?
Nope. Because it wouldn't be fair to the county if I had to spend days down there. And it wouldn't be fair to US Bank if I had to spend 32 hours a week here.
You'd be working 70 hours a week.
Yeah, but it wouldn't. The hours are all at the same time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I can't just abandon my job down there. So, but what I'm planning is actually I'm officially retiring from US Bank on July 3rd.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm not retiring, but I'm just retiring from US Bank. I'm going to find something else.
Yeah.
Might be doing mortgages.
Yep.
not for U.S. Bank, but for a different company,
Sure.
and I figure I need to start that in the summertime
Hmm.
when people are doing mortgages, when they're
Yes,
buying houses, instead
absolutely.
of should I be elected? I would have to start in January, and that's really a hard time to kind of get into
Mm-hmm.
the mortgage business. So,
Because that's when your term would start, would be January of
Chris,
2027, right? Yeah.
yes, correct. And so I'm going to make that leap. A little bit nervous, but I prayed about it and was given the okay by Heavenly Father that that's what I needed to do. So
Hey, if the big man gives it the thumbs up, you're good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to.
Well, we might get to talk to you a lot more then if that's the
Yes,
case.
yes. I might have to have a spot right
Yeah, we
here
could
in
get you
your
a little
guys'
cubicle or
shop.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. What now? We've talked about a lot of some of the politics stuff and some of the commissioner stuff, but
Mhm.
what do you like to do in your free time?
I don't have any of that.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
You and me both.
Yeah, right. What's free
Work
time?
at
What's
work.
that? Woo, yeah. So, um, my husband sometimes thinks I'm a widow, or he's a widow, because you know, I've I volunteer a lot. I
Yeah.
do a lot for the um, community, and really my enjoyment is the community.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time with the school district. Not a lot of time, but for volleyball program, I
Yeah.
set up and I line judge for the
Okay.
games.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to be helping the volleyball coach this year, doing some kind of behind the scenes stuff for
Hmm.
her. And then my husband and I, we camp up the North Fork.
Yeah.
We have a camp up there. We also do,
I've seen it. It's a nice camp.
it's a nice camp, yep. We also do side by side riding.
Yeah. So you guys are out
Um,
in the hills, cruising around, probably getting huckleberries and all the fun stuff, right?
yeah, we're
A
not
little bit.
we're okay. Huckleberry prick. I get bored easy doing huckleberries.
You and me both.
I
You and me
like to stay
both.
busy, and I like to fish.
Oh, good.
We go out fishing at Rose Lake.
Yeah.
I like to catch crappies. I go down to my father-in-law's down in by the Boise area,
Yeah.
and we go to the Oahe Reservoir
Oh, yeah.
and
Mhm.
crappie fish down there a lot.
Yeah.
I like to go spend time with my daughter in Salt Lake. Matter of fact, the day after the election, we are going to. We have a business, U.S. Bank. We have a manager meeting down there, Salt
Oh,
Lake.
yeah.
So I'm staying over because it ends on Friday, and then the Memorial Day weekend it bumps up to that.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah.
stay down there for that. So I like to go down there a couple times a year and visit her down there, and that takes. And then in the summertime, of course, it's haying season
Yep.
up the river. So
Yep.
I help my
Yeah, your
mom
mom
hay.
plays.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
yeah. So I help do that. I just don't seem to ever find a lack of things to do. I'm always seem to be busy.
Well, I think you're completely on the mark about people wanting to help with a lot of these
Hmm.
community things, and giving them on ramps to do so is probably a good idea. Like you're
Hmm.
kind of talking, like, how do we engage these people? Because there are a lot of people that want to help, they just don't probably quite know what to do,
Right,
right?
right.
And if you're available for them to reach out to, then great. I'm sure we can get a lot more people doing things around the community. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'd
So,
like to start up um, a cleanup committee type
oh yeah,
thing,
sure.
to where because there's lots of places where you just know that there's going to be a lot of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we started up something where we have, like, on a Saturday or Friday afternoon or something, a cleanup day in a certain area where
Yeah.
people,
Everybody could show up and
yeah,
yeah,
spend a couple hours,
yeah.
put some, cleanup along the
That's a
way.
good
And
idea. I'll sign up for it.
okay,
Yeah.
and lots of times people they want to help, but they don't have necessarily time to help,
Yeah.
so they want to donate.
And I was gonna say, it could be time, could be money, whatever people
Yeah,
have, right?
yeah, drop off
Yeah.
some garbage bags, or
Yeah.
um, lend somebody a truck to take stuff to the dump.
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
some of these older people, they have a truck and they can't really do a lot, so drive up, let people load
Yeah.
their stuff up.
Toss it in.
If somebody jump in, take it up to the transfer station
Yeah.
and unload it.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah. That's community engagement type stuff
Yeah.
that we're with you on that for sure. Um, so other than all of the commissioner things, you said some of your first goal is obviously the budget, right?
Hmm.
So we're going to do budget, then we're going to start figuring out how to make more money for the county.
Hmm.
what areas other than those do you see room for improvement right now, I guess?
On the
Without
budget or on the in the county itself?
um I guess I would say to start with the budget. So, I guess we always ask the question like where's the money going to and what's being spent on. And I know that you could get that information if you request it potentially from the
Mhm.
county, but
Which I have.
yeah, have you received it?
Mhm.
Okay, so you've already been going over the budget.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What are the biggest expenditures currently in our county budget?
Well, one of the things that I'm seeing is, and people probably don't know this, but the transfer station
Hmm.
has a $1.2 million um, padding in their account.
Oh
So they
wow.
have not, I just want to say deficit, but it's not a deficit.
Yeah.
It's actually a credit. They have a $1.2 million in their account.
Oh wow.
Because the way the budget works is when stuff comes in, like for taxes, a surplus, that was the word.
Surplus. Yeah.
So when stuff comes in for taxes, like for the transfer station, that money is earmarked for the transfer station and it can't be used for anything but the transfer station.
Oh yes. Okay.
And the same with the roads department. And there's like grants and things like that that come from the state and the
Hmm.
federal and stuff. And they can only be used for certain areas
Mm.
of that they're designed to use for.
Yeah.
So the transfer station has done a really good job at managing their funds, and
Yeah.
so right now they have a surplus.
Okay.
And so one of the things that we're going to do is that I'd like to do is cut back on the amount of money that people are paying for the transfer
For
station
the
over.
stickers and
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
And I haven't even nobody's even asked for our stickers when we went in there. It's
They
like
know you. That's why.
I, they need to go back to the sticker system because I think that we're taking maybe a lot more money or a lot more trash over,
Then
you
we
know.
should be right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but which is okay, not okay, but I'd rather see it there than in the woods.
We have heard about this before as a problem, which people don't want to pay for the stickers or they're from out of the
Yeah,
county or whatever, so they just drive up some road somewhere and.
and or they do the
Mhm.
dumpsters.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Um,
they fill up the
Fill
dumpsters.
up the
Yeah.
dumpsters, yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to work on that a little bit. Maybe lower some taxes on what we're paying for the transfer
Yeah.
station until we can, you know, the attrition comes
Yeah.
through with those particular funds.
Right.
The other thing I learned is that what they can do is they can there's a loophole there that they can get some of those funds for the general budget
Hmm.
that they use it as what they call administrative funds.
Okay.
So they can say, okay, it's going to cost for your electricity. I'm just going to say $5,000 a month.
Hmm.
So we're gonna take that out of the money that you have, and it costs us X amount of dollars to do your payroll and this and that. So they can take some of those and they can bring them out and they can put them into the general fund that we
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
to pay the people
So
at the.
reallocate some of it
Yeah.
if there's surplus in certain areas. You mentioned a little bit about grants and maybe at the federal level and state level.
Hmm.
Are there any specifically that you've looked into that you're interested in trying to?
I haven't looked into any of that part of it. I didn't go in that depth.
Yeah.
I do know that I looked into the sheriff's budget,
Yeah.
and I kind of think it really wasn't a real fair deal that the sheriff's office got
Mm.
because the budget, the works department has theirs, the transfer
Yeah.
station has theirs, the sheriff's department has theirs, but a lot of theirs comes from the general fund.
Oh, a lot of the sheriff's department budget,
Yeah,
you're saying? Yeah.
yeah. So that they take the bulk of the money from the general fund goes to the sheriff's department because of their salaries and
Right.
all of the
Yeah. A
things
lot
that
of
they
lot of
need.
stuff going on there. Yeah.
Well, what happened was, this is to my knowledge, that we were short in the general budget.
Hmm.
So they went and they said, okay, Sheriff's Department, now we are going to take $500,000 from your budget. So here you have this budget of $1.5 million,
Which doesn't go very
which
far.
doesn't
People
go
think it
very
sounds like a
far.
lot, but it doesn't go
Yeah,
very
it doesn't
far.
go very far. But now we're going to say, oh, well, since you're the highest chunk of the money goes to you,
Right.
now we're going to take 500,000 from you
Yeah. That
and
doesn't.
expect them to balance the budget off of $500,000
and still do good work.
Yeah, and still keep people and still do the
Yeah.
things. And
Well, I know that our deputies here, it's one of the lowest paying counties as far as law enforcement goes. And a lot of the sheriffs, other police, I mean, all of the police guys that have been around for any period of time here almost call it like a training department, because we'll get a lot of people that come up and they're good people and they get trained and they get a few years of experience. And I totally understand it because I have a friend that's a lieutenant on the Spokane Valley Police, and he makes pretty decent money over there.
and
So,
it's
and
not
it deals
just
with a lot more stuff, but
well, and it's not just the sheriff's department that happens to. It happens with the school,
oh yeah,
and it happens with the some of the places that what did we just lose? Several people from the county that could get more money working over in Coeur d'Alene. And I'm sorry, but in my opinion, a guy that carries a gun that has to see the things that they see on a daily basis
yes,
needs to make more
absolutely.
than somebody that's in the courthouse all day.
Yeah.
It just
They have a higher level of responsibility for sure. I mean, everybody's got responsibility, but when you're doing that job and you potentially have to be in life and death type situations, and I mean, yeah, we talked a little bit with Sean about this type of stuff, but it's a high level of responsibility.
Exactly.
So
and there's a lot of burnout. You're
absolutely,
and a lot of PTSD and a lot of things that people just well, that was their job to be in, that was their choice to be in law enforcement. You're right. However, it doesn't mean they shouldn't be compensated for it.
right? Yeah.
A doctor goes to school to be a doctor. He gets compensated for it because that's what he chose to be.
Right.
So,
I think the post academy is going to be 18 weeks long, is what I think I heard recently. They've added 2 weeks to it.
right.
So you have this whole thing you got to do, and then you're a trainee, and you got to, you don't just go straight into it.
Right.
So it's quite. I imagine it's a couple years of work before you're really actually on the road deputy on your own.
Right. Right.
So.
And there's a lot of things that the county employees get that are a benefit.
Yeah.
So, for example, I work at U.S. Bank, and I have medical insurance, and I pay over $500 a month for my medical insurance.
Yeah.
As a county employee, I pay $50.
Wow.
So, which is great. And I'm not, saying anything against that. I'm just simply saying that there comes a lot of the full benefit package rather than just the pay.
Yeah. And
so my thought is, let's say you have a wife of a minor that works at the courthouse, and she doesn't need that
because they're getting coverage
because they get coverage from the mine. So what if we take that $1,700 or $1,200? I can't remember what the county pays for that. So what if we take that and they say, okay, I don't want the medical insurance. Then the county takes half, and then we give the employee the other half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a win-win.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to say $50 a month, $50, I might as well get that.
Sure.
But if you say, okay, we're going to split that with you, and you get an extra $600 a month, that's huge.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of groceries. It's a little bit of gas.
Yeah,
it's a lot of groceries.
Yeah, it's a little bit of gas. It's a lot of groceries, but I mean things like that people may necessarily need.
Yeah.
And so working with the people at the courthouse to make sure that they're taken care of, benefit wise, salary wise, and so we can retain good people.
Yeah, we need the retention for sure.
We're never gonna match Coeur d'Alene.
No,
it's just not gonna happen.
No, different county, different.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. So.
There's something to be said about not having to drive the pass every day, because I did that for 7 years, so I get it. But I'm glad to be back here and working here, and so.
Are any of the mines that are reopening going to be within your district? No, not really, right?
Bunker is
yeah.
kind of in the vicinity of.
They're right on the edge.
Right on the edge, right there.
Yeah.
But that's one thing we need to do, is we need to look at more housing.
Right, for the miners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we just had 2 people this week come to the bank to open up accounts that just started at Bunker.
Yep.
Because they're going to be operating, and so we need some housing for these people, but yet we need to continue to have housing for the people that work at Silver Mountain, or the single parent that doesn't have a spouse that adds income from them. Not only are the houses outrageous, but apartments, the places to rent. And
Yeah.
with all this influx of people coming in to help these mines, it's like, where are we going to put all these people?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough question, and it's one, of course, we get all the time. And I
Exactly.
don't know what the answer is because, we've built a couple of houses over the last few years, and we're building one right now at Pine Creek. But it's so you can't. The materials are expensive. The labor is expensive. You hardly can't build a house for less than 300,000 minus the land.
Right.
So everything's 400, 500 plus for anything decent new.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, for better or worse, we have a bit of a short-term rental market here too,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not a big proponent of, legislation around those type of things, but we could potentially make some money off of it somehow,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know
Well,
Kellogg does a occupancy tax. I don't think Wallace currently does, but that could be another
why can't
interesting.
we do it at the county?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it,
at the county level.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I would like to look into that.
yeah.
Can we
People
do it?
probably don't want to hear more taxes, but
We don't.
it's for the tourists.
The other things is I want to generate revenue from the river, but not tax the locals out of being able to recreate there.
Yeah,
So there's some things that I have in the works that I'm going to look at. Unfortunately, it may have an effect on the locals, but the bulk of the money I want to get out of there is going to be from the tourist people that come in.
how do you want to do that?
So, first of all, I'd like to see a few different tax situations on the river as far as for the people that don't have property in the Silver
Hmm.
Valley. I had a friend of mine tell me that she made a proposal several years ago of adding taxes to people that don't to the river that don't have property in the Silver Valley.
Right.
So,
So
pretend,
like somebody that is like obviously you have property on the
hmm
river, but then your residence is also in
yes,
Shoshone County, but your residence is not the river property.
yes,
A lot of those are not places you could actually build a house because of our flood zones and all of our other
exactly,
problems, right? So
right,
you can't really like penalize somebody for not living there when they really can't.
exactly.
But I understand what you're saying. So you got a guy that's from, I don't know, let's just use Seattle as an example,
Hmm
but he doesn't actually reside in the county. So we would do something with their taxes, is what
Yeah,
you're thinking? Yeah.
and like I said, I don't know if that's all legal, but I would like to look into it.
Yeah.
The other thing I would like to do is I would like to put by the Silver Bridge
Yep.
there. They have that little parking thing right there.
Hmm.
I want to do pay to park there.
Absolutely.
And then at the Bumblebee Bridge, same thing,
Yeah.
pay to park.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to do is there's no, right now it used to be where you couldn't have your tires on the
On the
pavement.
pay. Yep.
Yep,
Hmm.
or you'd get a ticket. That
Yep.
hasn't been enforced.
Oh yeah.
And when you
Hmm.
enforce that, that's an ordinance.
Yeah.
So anytime you have an ordinance, that money goes to the
Right.
county
Right.
versus if you write a ticket for speeding, it goes to the state and the state sends
I
back a
see.
certain
Okay.
percentage.
So the county ordinances,
It's county ordinance.
they collect the revenue.
They collect the
Yeah.
revenue.
Okay.
Also, I remember when it was 2 or 3 sheriffs ago, they went up there and one of the sheriff's county was talking about this because he was doing this when he was at the county. Is they had everybody was on duty on the weekend, and
Yep.
they had them, and they would just go down, and they were going over banks, and they were, looking at getting people and bringing them over, making sure they were old enough to drink, and if they
Yep.
were littering, they were
No
giving them
glass.
tickets, no glass, the whole 9 yards, and there was a lot of revenue generated from those
Yeah.
ordinances.
Sure.
So I'd like to see that again, and
Yeah.
I would work with whoever wins as the sheriff,
Yeah.
to do that,
Hmm.
to get some ordinances there. And so the pay to park. The other thing that I would like to do is, and I've been doing a little bit of research and this is all stuff that's not going to happen the very first time I get
Right.
into office, the very first month,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be working on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't, because everyone's like, well, they should have to have a ticket or a sticker or
Oh
something
yeah,
like
like a
that.
pass to go up the river or
Yeah,
something. Yeah, we've asked about that
we
before. Yeah.
can't charge people to float the river,
Right.
but we can charge them to access it. So just like in Coeur d'Alene, you pay to park, and then you, or some of these other places, you pay to park, and you have to pay to access their facilities.
Yeah, the state does it as like a Discover Pass, right, or whatever.
So why can't we do that?
Yeah.
Why can't we?
There's a lot of people that go up that river, and I know you've probably talked about it a lot too over the years. But a lot of them, they come into the county, they get off at the river. Maybe they stop at one of the service stations there, but by and large, most of the time they bring their own. And so they really aren't really spending much money in the county unless they're paying for lodging or food or something. But there's not much up there to spend money on.
And they bring their own, and they don't always leave with what they brought.
That's true. Yeah, pack it in, pack it out.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
they pack it in and they leave it.
Yep.
The other thing I want to do, and it goes back to, when you have this influx of people on your property, you have property, and some of those places have 4, 5, 6 trailers. Okay, that's additional monies on our roads. It's additional money in our transfer station. It's additional money for the police department. So I know that people from the valley go there and camp. There's got to be an influx of something that we can do that's going to help pay for because you got to pay to play.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So a little bit of money from that, but the big money, the big taxes, I think the bigger ones will go towards people that don't have property here.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So generating money that way. So I don't want to just come and say we're going to lower taxes, we're going to do all this stuff. I want to generate. I want to bring us in some more money.
Well, I think that's the only way to solve this problem. You can't really cut your way. I think the saying is it's easier to make more money than it is to try to not spend it.
Exactly. And then all this I know they did a big sale of a bunch of equipment from the county roads department last year. What do we currently have right now?
Right.
There was somebody that was telling me, and I haven't looked into this, so I don't know the validity of it, but that we have a loader that's sitting in Smelterville with the chains on, and that's all we use it for is in the wintertime.
Just for snow, yeah.
Just for snow, because they don't want to remove the chains, which I guess is really hard. Now, whether that's true, I don't know, but I'm going to look into it.
Yeah.
And then how many loaders do we have? How many do we need?
See where the resources are and what the money's being spent on, yeah.
And I've actually talked with one of my customers at the bank that does heavy equipment and does all this stuff for a living. I was kind of picking his brain, and I said, hey, should I become commissioner? I want you to come with me, and I want you to go down. I want to go down to the transfer, not to the transfer, to the roads department, and let's talk about this equipment and see what we have and see what we need.
Yeah.
He said one of the big problems was the roads department said no overtime, and so when they were plowing over on the Joe, they could only work 8 hours. So it takes them a certain amount of time to get over there.
Yeah.
And then they can only plow a certain time, and then they have to come back. And he said, so instead of doing it in 2 days, it took them 3 days.
Right.
So I'm like, okay.
You got transport time.
Exactly. Yeah. So what can we do different in that so that they can plow longer? Do we have them do 410s?
Right.
Do we have them do,
change the
312s? Yeah, change the things so it makes sense to get the stuff done.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that this county extends all the way out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of, there's resources that are being utilized up that river for sure that I think a lot of people that are on this side of Moon Pass maybe don't see all the time, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And then they said we have all these loaders because we need them for when there was snow. They need to be able to load up the snow in the dump trucks and haul it away. Well, it didn't work for us this year because we didn't have any snow.
Yeah, no snow.
So are we, and these are just questions I want to find out, are we leasing these loaders for this?
Oh, yeah.
And if that's the case, why do we need that many loaders? Why don't we just say, okay, if we have 1 or 2 days a year, 4 or 5 days a year, why don't we contract with one of these people that have loaders that aren't working because it's snowy out? Why can't we contract with them for a couple of days?
Yeah.
And that would be a lot less than a leasing of a loader.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
These are things that I want to look into. And that may not, I could be talking out of the right side of my face. That might not be feasible, but I want to look.
Yeah, we at least got to see, right? What else have we not covered regarding the commissioner thing? Is there anything that you're thinking of that we haven't, that we've omitted?
I do know that May 19th is the primary election.
Yep.
And that's my birthday.
Oh.
I will be the big 5'7" this year. So I predict that I'm going to win the primary and go on to the general election.
Yeah.
Because I don't vote, nobody's running against me in the primary, so that's why I can say that. So then I go to the general election in November.
Yeah.
So people need to get out and vote. There's a lot of important things. We're gonna elect a sheriff in May.
Mm-hmm. And I think that one's going to be it, because there's only the sheriffs that are running are all running as Republicans, if I remember correctly. So that's going to be the determination for the sheriff.
And then also county commissioners for position 1.
Okay.
They're all Republicans as well. So those are the two things. Those are the two things that we're going to decide in May.
Yeah. Okay. And are you you running as a Republican?
I am.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Conservative.
I am conservative. Yes.
Yes,
I am not very. I mean, I'm conservative, but I'm open-minded.
The definitions of those things seem to have changed a little bit over the last couple decades.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Well, as we're about to wrap things up, Tami, is there anything that you'd like to say to the voters here in Shoshone County, speaking directly to them?
Yeah. I am born and raised in this valley, and over the past several years, there's been lots of changes, lots of influx of people, and it's easy to be an armchair quarterback, like you're watching the football. It's easy to say, do this, do this, do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be that change I expect.
Yeah.
There's some things that are, that I want to do differently. I don't want to just say we're going to cut taxes, and I want to be out and doing the things that the county needs to make this a successful county. I want to do that. I want to try to do that. I'm very open. Mm-hmm. Everybody says they're transparent, but I really am transparent. Yeah. I mean, I have been on Facebook. You can follow my Tami for Commissioner Facebook page. I put in there when I put yard signs out. I take pictures of people. I'm very open.
We've been seeing all your pictures. They're great.
Yeah, I mean, people want to know what's going on. So when I go visit these businesses, I'm going to document, hey, this is what I saw. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And so
I think people almost expect it nowadays with the internet, right? Like they want to know what's going on, and everybody's always tuned in. And you are 100% correct about it. It's very easy to make comments from the sidelines about things.
Exactly. And if we're voting on something that's important, I want to put it out there and say, this is what we're voting on, and let people have the opportunity to voice their opinions.
Yeah.
And I want to be the change.
Yeah. Be in the community with the people. Well,
yeah.
We hope for your birthday you get what you want.
I know I'm going to get at least one vote because I'm voting for myself. So,
and we hope that it is what you want. And we do appreciate that people are coming in that want to do some change and do some new things, because I do think that bringing fresh people into the county with new ideas and new perspectives is probably a really good thing.
Absolutely.
Because they kind of, I feel like they get stuck doing it the same way for a long time, and maybe they just need a little jostling to get another idea in the head, So.
And you talk with your hands like I do. If my hands were tied, I could never say a word.
Yeah.
I'm vocal.
Tami, we want to thank you for coming in and sitting down with us today. We always like to hear from all of the people that are running. Anybody else that wants to come in is welcome to reach out to us. And Tami Atkins running for District 2 County Commissioner in Shoshone County. Go vote on May 19th, everybody.
Vote, vote, vote.
That's right.